Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Saboteur, and my wonderful guest today is River Easter. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurialism today. River initiates breakthrough from positive intelligence to uncover the key factors impacting performance and well-being. She says that our saboteurs often work quietly in the background, undermining our success and preventing us from optimizing our performance, relationships, and overall well-being. We're going to be talking today about helping you identify and understand these saboteurs and giving you the awareness of their cost and their impacts. She's Coach River Easter. She's highly skilled and experienced and international mindset coach who has dedicated her career to empowering individuals and teams to reach their full potential. River holds a master's degree in organization development, certification in neuroscience for business leaders from MIT, and a positive intelligence coach, giving her a unique blend of knowledge and expertise to offer her clients. And she incorporates this science breakthrough from positive intelligence, uncovering those key elements, influencing performance and well-being, and identifying those financial facts, signifying and simplifies personal and professional growth. Her proven system is designed to help individuals gain confidence, freedom, and a life they love. Now, that is the key, isn't it? A life they love. And, so many people have gone into life through expectation, went to college, got into a job, doing well at the job, but where's the joy? Where's the happiness? They just feel they're perpetually on a treadmill because they're not living their passion. Welcome to the show, River.
That's great. I love it. Yeah, I think that we all have been there. I know for me, it started, I had thinking, well, if I do this or if I do that, then I'm going to be happier. And or I need this credential or that credential and or get into this particular field. And I remember at this one point I was in a workshop with my husband, and it was a relationship workshop because at that time my life was imploding.
Mm,
And he actually was the one that took me there. I usually did not. I mean, I was the one that usually was dragging him
yeah.
along, but this time he wanted me to go. And I got really angry in that workshop, and I ended up storming out. And I was wondering, why was I so angry?
Hmm.
What was going on? And when I did some self-reflection, I realized that I was angry at myself
Hmm.
because I was watching them, the facilitators teaching it, do something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'd wanted to do my whole life, was teaching and coaching, and I wanted to be up there doing that, and I wasn't, and it made me so upset.
Hmm.
You know, have you ever been so upset with yourself? You're just so sick and tired
Yes.
of, oh, why am I not doing what I want to do? Or why can't I find what I want to do? And so I just saw my future in front of me on that day. And I saw myself as this bitter, resentful person if I didn't do something like now.
Yeah.
And so I basically got on a quest. I was gonna slay that dragon, and I knew that that dragon wasn't out there, it was
Mm,
in here.
yeah.
it was in my mind, and my dragon was fear.
Hmm.
My dragon was the fear of rejection,
Yes.
fear of not being good enough,
Hmm.
because what if I was up there and people were rejecting me, right? So that was mine, but we all have a dragon
Hmm.
that we need to tame. And so what's your dragon?
Hmm.
And they
Yeah.
all have something in common. They stop us from,
Yes.
taking that step that we need to take. They stop us from contributing our gifts to the world,
Mm.
and so I just spent a lot of time trial and error to figure it out, and I did. And I'm so happy that I'm here now coaching and teaching. I just love it.
Mm.
So thank you.
The cosmic two by four, as I call it. Your husband recognized, that obviously your life was so discontented, it was affecting your relationship. And then going to that thing just became the neon sign of just how much it was affecting your life, right? That you paid attention to it, even if it was like you were pissed off and you were angry, you paid attention.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is that that's the reason why these cosmic two by fours come along. They're there to show us you're on the wrong path. Right?
Yes.
And you don't need to get mad with yourself. All right, stamp your feet, scream, let it out, right? You got to release it. Now, what are you going to do about it? And
Right.
very often people get so stuck in the anger of it or the frustration, or they don't quite know which way to go. They just know they're in the wrong lane, that they can stay in the angry or frustrated, or the woe is me, or the persecution, self-persecution, for too long before getting proactive into doing something. For you, you saw, I want to do that. Not what I'm doing, I want to do that. But for a lot of people, they just realize, I don't want to do this, but I have no idea what I want to do.
Right. And that's a lot of people that I work with
Hmm.
is and it's really common. So it's okay. It's okay.
Hmm.
Don't know because
It's the norm.
you actually do know. You actually do know. And that's I think one of the gifts that I have is to really help people to get clarity
Mm,
on what it is that they would love to do. So it doesn't matter if you have no idea. It doesn't matter if you have some idea of what it is, but you haven't really taken any steps. And there's the people that I work with that are really super clear, and they're
mm,
doing it, but they want to get to the next level. So it
right.
doesn't matter where you are. There's always there's going to be value in what I'm going to be sharing with you today.
Hmm. I think the biggest thing is understanding you're not where you're meant to be, and that everything that you've done isn't a waste of time. It's actually just preparing you to redirect those skills and those abilities into something that you're passionate about. Because if we're not passionate about it, if we don't get out of bed every day with an excitement of what we're going to do today, instead of, oh God, can I go back to bed? Do I have to do this again? Right? We want to get out and go, I really, I'm looking forward to today and what today can bring me. That whole change just dynamically changes your life on every aspect, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of people, even like I work with professionals too, and uh and the a lot of times they wake up in the morning
Mm, hmm.
dreading their day
Yes.
because they either have to deal with a team that they don't like or they don't know how to motivate, or they are dreading the amount of work that they have to do.
Mm,
There's a sense of dread, right? Oh my God, I have to get up and I have to do this. Well, that sets the whole tone of your day. And so really making these simple shifts of, hey, what if I could get out of bed in the morning and actually be grateful that I have
mm,
today to live.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. First step. Right. Thank you. You've given me another day. I woke up. All right. Now, what am I going to do with this day? In enthusiasm. Right.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the time, a couple of words don't come into our vocabulary, and one is gratitude, and the other one is joy. And, when we have gratitude, we're more likely to find joy, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I would say there's, sort of three things that I want to cover today
Hmm.
to share that I think are really important is that, and I'm going to speak especially to women on this, but also I do work with men, and I love working with men. But really the women, I think this is especially for them, is one of the mistakes that women make is that they really undervalue their expertise.
Mm,
And then the second thing I want to talk to about is really creating a strategic plan, really having some clarity and a
hmm
strategic plan to get to where they want to go. And the other is when you get into action, that's when we really need to do our mind work.
hmm
That's where all these different things will delay. We'll try to talk ourselves out of it. So I want to talk about those three things to help you get on the right track and get
Yes.
going, you
Yeah.
know? And
The
so
shifting of perspective, right? That's the first step, shifting of that perspective.
right, and get that those three things. I've done a lot of research just because I'm a researcher,
Mm-hmm.
and when I first started going from working in organizations and organization development to working to networking and kind of check going more specifically into coaching, these were the things
Hmm.
that people all, well, I'm not doing my phone calls,
Yes.
or I'm not quite sure. Or do you have a plan? No, I really haven't made a plan. Just,
Hmm.
um, and for women, really undervaluing their worth
Hmm. Hmm.
into the world. And especially for women who are coming out into this, maybe they've been raising their children and now they're getting back into the workforce. And I mean, the workforce doesn't really value them once you stop working.
Yes.
And so getting that value of what you do. And so a good idea is really to like list your strengths.
Hmm.
What really are your strengths? And accomplishments, and really own your accomplishments. Because so many women, even if they haven't been working, they've been doing things. I mean, oh my God, there was a book that came out. A woman had done research, and this was during the pandemic that the book was released. But a woman raising like a couple kids in a household is has as much cognitive load as a CEO of a
Yeah.
Fortune 500 company. I
Yes.
mean, that is how much stress that you're actually experiencing. So all of these things you can, use to your advantage. So you're really got to own that value and identify your superpower,
Hmm.
right? Because we all have a superpower and it's unique. All of us are essential. All of us are unique. And all of us are here on this planet for a reason.
Yes. We
And
certainly are.
yeah, and I totally believe this. And I was working with a consultant, and she came to me because she was starting out and she really wanted to get her business, strategic plan and get everything together. And she had this really customized service, and she kept comparing it to this other service
Hmm.
that had no customization at all. And so there was, of course, all these errors that could happen,
Hmm.
even though she was doing this. same particular test, the way that it was sampled, because she has a science, so it was all very science-based, but the way it was sampled, how the samples were collected, just like tons of information that she was actually taking in, processing to come up with a recommendation for her clients. And I was like, girl, you're comparing apples and oranges here, it's like you're so far above because you're customized service that you can act, people are going to pay for that personalized, customized service. And so she was able to really confidently advocate for herself and communicate her value effectively.
Mhm.
So of course she's doing gangbusters
Right.
now, you
Yeah.
know? And it really just changed her whole thinking about herself.
Just a point before you go any further there, the customization. We've got so much into a world of just being a number or next and not an identity that people will pay more for that service where you are addressing me and my needs, and I'm not just another invoice number. Right. And so that customization, I think, is something that people could look at in many aspects of whatever their business is, because people do want to know they count. They're not
Yeah,
just a dollar sign, right? That
yeah,
you're really here because you care and you
yeah,
really want to address their needs. And I
yes.
think that is something that will always propel people to the top when they come from that space.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. And that's, I have basically like a boutique coaching business
Hmm.
because I like one-on-one coaching.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
want to get in there and I want to see you and support you. And that's what I do. So it's really important to know your strengths and the
Mm.
things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
really brings you joy, and those are valuable.
Hmm.
They're so valuable for people. And so the other, mistake that women make is they don't create a strategic action plan and create really clear goals.
Hmm.
And so that's something that I'm really good at. I've done it my entire career, actually, is strategic planning. And a strategic plan is awesome. Getting super clear about your goals, coming up with a strategic plan. It's a roadmap,
Hmm.
right? So it helps. It's like helps frame your decision making. If you have a goal and you're because we're bombarded all the time with
Hmm.
uh, do this, do that, you can do this, you can do this, and it's so easy to get distracted by that shiny object
Hmm.
syndrome, right? Oh,
Squirrel.
yeah, yeah, oh, I'm gonna do this. This is, but yeah, this having a really strategic plan is sort of like you got some guardrails there,
Mm.
and so even if you veer off, you're able to jump back on.
Yeah.
And our mind needs a strategic plan. It needs a plan of action. Otherwise, the ambiguity of it all, and most of us are really ambiguous. Oh, well, I want to get in shape.
Mm.
Well, what does get in shape mean to you?
Hmm.
Right? If you're going to get in shape, does that mean that I mean, getting in shape for me could be totally different from
Yeah.
getting in shape of a friend of mine, right? And so you really have to determine, well, how are you going to get in shape, right? What are the things that your goals are for
Mm.
that? And then we have to determine what action steps would you like
Yes.
to do?
Yes. Hmm.
And what's a real a realistic goal, and then breaking those down into
Hmm.
something that is, because we're always going to hit obstacles
Of course. It's
along
also
the.
how to navigate those obstacles too, right? They're not roadblocks per se. They're not here. They're not a cul-de-sac. Even a cul-de-sac, you can turn around, go back out, and try another route. kind of you're talking about like kind of the GPS of our life,
Yeah.
having that GPS and then that the action, action plan. Fine, the GPS says I need to go this route, that route, this route, that route, but then what action am I taking? What vehicle am I in? Who am I traveling with? Who do I need to meet along the way? Well, that kind of becomes part of that, combined action and GPS plan, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's so important. In fact, you can increase your odds of achieving your goals by like 42% just by writing them down
Mm,
and journaling, about them every day. And I'm not ta journaling doesn't have to be complete sentences.
right.
You know, Journaling can be much different than that.
Hmm.
So,
Epiphanies.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. It can be doodling. It
Yeah.
can be because we all have, we're not all writers. Whenever
Mm.
I think that I have to write a complete sentence, I'm like, I forget what I'm supposed to, I like seize all up, right? So it's much easier for me to be a little bit more freeform with my journaling. And but really you want to have those goals in front of you, and so that helps your mind, because your mind it's processing like 410,000 billion bits of info. I mean, there's all kinds of different
Yes.
uh numbers out there, but it's a lot.
Yes.
We are taking in all of this information, but we can only consciously be aware of a small amount of it, and our brain processes information by value tagging. And then, so for example, I decided that I needed a new car a few years ago. I went out and I bought a Volvo S60. And I thought, oh my God, this is the most unique car. I've never seen it before, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen this car before. I'm going to have this really cool, unique car. Well, then after I bought it, I saw it everywhere.
Exactly.
It's because my brain said, this car is important because you got to find it in a parking lot, right?
Right, right.
And so that value tag, so that's why writing down your goals are really important,
Hmm.
because you have said, this is important to me. And so therefore, I'm going to look for opportunities
Hmm.
for you to actually achieve that goal.
Did you actually say to ask yourself a question as to why it's important? Because sometimes we think something is important because it's the outside tinsel, I'll get more likes, or I'll get more recognition, or I'll get more money, or I'll get more fame. That asking that why is it important to you to kind of bring it back to the core of the importance rather than kind of as a tinsel town being, dazzling in front of you.
Well, I think that's part of the process about getting really clear about,
Mm,
always start with somebody's vision.
hmm.
It's much bigger than, like, say, a year goal or a
Mm,
monthly goal or a weekly goal, right? With, specific steps and an end. So a vision is much bigger, and really getting clear about why is that important to you.
yeah.
And so really working, getting to the why, because the why is very motivating.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also part of the process that I use is having people figure out what their values are.
Yeah.
And then they can see how their values align with their goal and their vision. And so when you're aligned, you're gonna have what I call sort of magic happens.
Hmm.
Have you
Hmm.
ever had that? You've been in that part of your life and you're just like, oh my gosh, and this just happened out of the blue.
Yes.
And this person, and then this came available, and that's just what I was looking for, right? That's like when you're super, you're very aligned, your thoughts are aligned,
Hmm.
or your energy is aligned, and it's just like the magic making place.
Yes. There's the attunement, I
Yeah.
call it, the soul, the heart, the spirit. and the mind are all in, in sync with each other.
Yeah.
And in wisdom, and we very often think that our intellect is from our chin up, and we don't pay attention to our heart or to our gut, our soul wisdom, or what our spirit, our enthusiasm is telling us. And if we listen to that and incorporate it in the conversation, we will know, oh, this feels right. Yeah, this really feels right. Well, I don't know about that one. I'm not feeling it. And if we could trust our feelings and our gut a little bit more, it would help our decision making so much better.
Oh yeah, hands down, that when you have that mind-body connection, that your decisions are going to always outperform when you're in the real rational mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because being making or having decisions that are rational, right, are really good, but there's the heart, which is really this mind body connection. And I think it was Cook who took the job with Apple, and everybody said, don't do it, don't do
Mm-hmm.
it, don't do it, that's going to kill your career.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had, and there was all these reasons why that was so. Well, he decided that he was going to take the job. There was just something, he just knew that it was right for him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now looking, hindsight's always 2020. I mean, it was fantastic what he's done,
Mm-hmm.
and what he's received from a career at Apple.
Yeah,
So the mind body connection is always going to outperform
yeah,
any other decision making way.
yeah. The GPS, having that structure of your map of where you're going, and knowing which action to take, why you're taking it. The other thing is, whom is it for? You know,
Yeah.
uh, because very often people, "Oh, I really want to do this and I really want to do that," but who are your clients? Who are you doing it for? And I think sometimes that kind of gets lost in the excitement of the vision. Is there a need for it, or who are your clients? How are you going to find them? How are you going to present to them this maybe out of the box presentation of what you're doing?
Hmm. Yeah, and that's something that when that uh, if you have a vision,
Hmm.
that there is I mean, you can achieve that vision. Maybe you don't know how
Mm,
to do it, and but the universe knows how to do it.
yes.
The universe knows how to do it. And so your job, and this is what I always tell people, your job is not the how, because we get
Mhm.
so, caught up in the how.
Yeah.
Our job is the what.
Mm,
What I want to, like, just, I want to get to Tuscany, Italy.
mhm.
That was my what. I want to get to Tuscany, Italy. That was back in 2014, that I wanted to get there. Well, I actually just got back from a month in Italy, in Tuscany. Well, actually, I went a couple different places, but it was very clear that that was the what. I did not know how,
Right.
but it eventually unfolded.
Hmm.
So you take the step that you can take from where you're at,
Yeah.
and that's really important. So I think the last step or last thing I want to talk about is the idea that, okay, we're getting, because since you're talking about getting into
Hmm.
action, and that is where, so you have the what, uh, and you are excited about the what. It feels really aligned with you. And then you're like, oh my gosh, though. I mean, I'll just tell a story.
Hmm.
I so I really wanted to go into coaching, and I had moved, so there was an opportunity to sort of start anew
Hmm.
in a new place, and I and I ended up getting I was looking for a coaching program to actually do, and I'd looked at a whole bunch of ones that my professors in organization development had done and things that had come my way. I actually had worked a bunch with Tony Robbins or
Mhm.
done, some of his stuff. And but nothing ever really felt right. And then a friend of mine, she said, hey, let's meet in LA. I'm going to be in LA and I'm going to be doing this workshop, and we can get a hotel together, do this transformational workshop thing, and have some fun. And I was like, I'm all in. I'm down.
Have fun, yes.
Yeah, like this sounds great. I'm in. And so I went down there, and oh my gosh, I got it was Mary Morrissey,
Mhm.
and it was at a particular time where I was like, oh my gosh, she has the key here that I've been looking to unlock what I've been looking for. And so I ended up signing up. It cost uh, a lot of money, like way more than my master's program even did. And I didn't have any money at the time. I had to borrow it from my sister, actually, or the down payment. So then I'm super excited about it. I get home and then I'm like, what the hell have I done? This was the stupidest thing that I've ever done in my life. It was just like, all of my fears and everything just came
Mhm.
crashing down on me. And I don't even know how I ended up getting in the seat to do the training and finish it, because I wouldn't even return their phone calls. I mean, that's how scared I was, because our paradigms come up and all that fear comes up when we get into action because we
Mhm.
outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's normal. It's normal for our fear to come up when we're outside of our comfort zone. But
Mhm.
we don't know that. We just think, oh my God, we've done the worst thing. Or fear shows up. So for me, it was DEF CON 1, that's where that was my meter. A lot of times it shows up as like, I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
I don't know about you,
Mhm.
but the biggest dream killer is I'll do it later,
Mhm.
because later is code for never.
Mhm.
It is such a huge dream killer. And then the third way is that we talk ourselves out of it.
Mhm.
Oh, this wasn't such a good idea. I don't know. I'm just not interested in it now. That's like a really big one. Like I'll be working with a client on what they want to do. And then, a few weeks into it, they'll be like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it. But really deep, when we dig a little deeper, there's some kind of underlying fear
Yes.
that they have that is having them not want to take that next step.
Mhm. The unknown. Will I be good enough? Am I worthy of it? Can I do this? Who would be interested? All of those things that, become our blockades, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's these inner,
Hmm.
inner
Little
dragons that we
demons
have. There are
having a party.
yeah, so there are saboteurs that
Yeah.
come up, and our saboteurs are based in the limbic system of our brain. They're fear-based, and they start out as our strengths when we're young, but they end up as we overuse them and over abuse them. This side of, that pathway gets very, very strong. And the pathway for the region of our brain, which was
Mm.
creativity and innovation and purpose, right? And we're talking about purpose when you're, you know, have purpose and you're really passionate about something. I mean, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
And that's in this region, and that where things are fun and that magical, part of it. And that's where we want to be, that region of
Hmm.
our brain that we want to be in. And so that's one of the things I give people, is so that they can see what their saboteurs are doing.
Hmm.
And this is I would say this is researched, highly research based. And it is, I just think it's coaching, 10x,
Hmm.
because of all the science behind it.
Right.
So,
I call it, having the common sense fear. The common sense fear, don't walk in front of the bus, don't put your hand in the fire. That clear danger type fear. But if
mhm,
we could change our exploration into wonderment instead of fear, our common
mhm,
sense fear will keep us protected, but we're
mhm,
not giving fear so much power. Instead, we're stepping into that creativity and that wonderment of what is possible,
yeah.
right? And so it's kind of feeding the possibility rather than allowing the fear to have free reign.
Yeah, and you have to rewire
Mm,
your brain
hmm.
because our evolutionary wise, we're wired to amplify all of the things that could be negative.
Yeah,
And so we avoid at all costs something that could be painful, and that can be an emotional pain,
yeah.
like rejection.
Yes, yes. That's probably kind of one of the big ones up on the list, isn't it? That rejection. But really, when it comes down to it, where's that rejection coming from? It's us rejecting ourselves, and it's why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we, pulling ourselves down when we know, because there's that chatter in your head saying, well, what are you doing? You know that we're already in fourth gear. Stop trying to get down to first gear. I'm ready to get up into fifth gear, but that little chatter comes into our head, and it's how do we, hear what the common sense fear or common sense objectives are without kind of becoming fearful about it.
Well, I would say that it's awareness.
Mm,
And so that's, as we spiral up the ladder of awareness, or the spiral of awareness, we are going to begin to understand ourselves. So once like, there's one of the saboteurs is the judge, and that's that
mm,
inner critic where we're really judging things, like we're judging ourselves. Like, I was working with a client the other day, and she was like, I need to focus on asking for money because I just avoid it at all costs. Because, hey, granted, we come in to being a entrepreneur. We're not salespeople,
right.
right? Our
Or
gift,
financial gurus.
yeah,
Yeah.
our gift is not being a
Uh,
salesperson. And so we avoid the sales, right?
mm,
That's uncomfortable for us. And most people the clients that I work is like, well, I don't want to feel salesy. I
yeah.
feel like I'm luring them in, or I'm convincing them, or, just all of these like not very nice things to think about ourselves.
Hmm.
And so that's what she was doing. She was trying to make these phone calls. Or, following up with people who had said they were interested in her products or services. And she's like, but I just kind of talk, and then I don't, I've overly explained, because she has this thing going on in
Hmm.
her head. And she talks herself out of, oh, they can't afford it. Oh, they've had a tight month. And why bother? They're not going to like what I want anyway. So she's like, back to, mistake number
Yeah.
one is
Yeah.
that you're undervaluing your worth.
Yeah.
This is, she never talks about the money thing. So you need to have this awareness, and to really start. And this is where it's really scary. And that's where a coach and
Mm.
somebody who's going to help you,
Stay on track.
yeah, stay on track, and be that, wait a second here,
Yes.
friend. You're going down the wrong path here,
Hmm.
and to interrupt that thought, and then do these really simple practices to help you get out of that fear side of your brain, that saboteur side of
Yeah.
your brain, and move into the region of your brain that has the power and the creativity, and um, is going to be operating from possibility,
Yeah.
not from fear, and operating from love and from service, right? Because we're doing this because we're passionate
Exactly.
about our service and the impact that we have by the products and the services that, as an entrepreneur, you're providing.
I always say that people are going to buy you before they buy from you. So if they feel your heart, they feel your passion about what it is that you're offering, that you are drinking your own Kool-Aid, right? Then people want to know more because if you're that enthusiastic about it, if you're that passionate about it, hey, I'd like some of that passion. When Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having, right?
Yeah.
So so if we're in doubt or apologetic, right, then it's going to be, what are you apologizing for? What are you in doubt for? Then they're not going to see the passion or the heart. All they're going to do is feel the doubt,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's, be the exuberance of what this means to you, because
Mm-hmm.
that's your selling point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really, so learning the difference, right? And really being able to do that rewiring that you need to do and having that awareness.
Yeah.
And then the scary part is also acting differently.
Yeah.
So that's where you need somebody, what I say is like you need somebody who's going to be holding your hand,
Hmm.
somebody who's like, love, 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 and then maybe a little shove, right?
Yes.
Like this.
Yes. Get it together. Yes. Because we do. It's very easy to go off kilter.
Oh,
And then, oh, the moment that door is open, in come the rabbit.
yeah,
And then once they start chatting, common sense again is finds it hard to kind of come back in, and you need that outside voice
yeah.
and go, hang on, mate. Let's press stop on that chatter and let's redirect it, because
Yeah. I
we don't
mean,
sometimes even realize we're doing it, right?
oh, we don't realize it.
Mm.
I have a coach. I
Hmm.
mean, I have accountability buddies so that they can like, hey, what are you? That's ridiculous thought. You
Yeah.
can do that. I mean, we need those people.
Yeah.
And being either a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, it can be really lonely out,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and so we need that. And it's just like so important. The What is it? There's a saying about how far you can go. I'm not even going to
Mm.
say it 'cause I can't remember the saying, but it's like we need people to help us along the way. It's like we need that team of people
Mm.
around us, and most of us don't have it.
No.
And so we
It's
need to,
almost accountability coach, but at the same time, you've got this cheerleader coach, but also then pointing out, this isn't your strength. Who can you align with or collaborate with,
yeah,
that's their strength, and what you're doing is their weakness, and how can you come together? Because I think that is one of the biggest things with entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, is finding people that this is your forte. I'd
yeah,
love you to do this for me, and I will do that for you. And then that means it's taking a burden off your shoulder. But very often people want to align with someone, and then it goes wrong because somebody's not doing what they should be doing, or whatever. And then we go, oh, I'm just meant to be a solopreneur all along. And it's no, it's just, trial and tribulation to find that right collaboration.
yes. Yeah, because we have our strengths.
Mm,
And then there's just things that that's not me, and I don't
mhm.
want to do that. And so having that person to really help you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does take a little while, I think, sometimes to find
Hmm.
somebody. But people in business, I just was talking to a client that they have been putting off hiring somebody. They already have about 20 people in their business, employees, but they needed another person to take over, and they had put it off and put it off and put it off because what was going on? Their saboteurs were coming
Yes.
in, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And
What if?
yeah, yeah, but they needed somebody to come in there and help in their business so that they can realize the vision and the goals for that company. So yeah, really being able to find those people and to do, to know when your saboteur is coming in there and saying, oh, if you want to get it done right, then you have to do it yourself, or
Yes.
oh, it's way too hard to find people. All of those things are these beliefs that stop us, and we have to be willing to say, is that really true? And
Mm.
how can I actually change that? Because we need a team
Mm.
around us.
But that saboteur can stop us from expanding. I'm just going to use my son as an example. He owns a restaurant. And for the
Hmm.
first, 3 or 4 years, he was doing every single role there was in the restaurant. And as a boss, you do need to be able to some level, do every single role to understand what the roles are and whom you're hiring. And it actually kind of came into after COVID. And then he had snapped his Achilles. And then he
Oh,
broke up with his girlfriend. And
oh,
all of this came crashing down. And his staff came to him and said, we've got this. You're going to go and take some time out.
oh,
Right.
that's awesome.
And he's about to get married in just a couple of weeks. But my darling son and breaking bones, he broke his ankle in 4 places.
Oh,
So
wow.
we don't know if he's going to be walking for the wedding or not. He's in a wheelchair right now. But what a difference, a couple of years have made because he would have been in a complete panic before. The restaurant. Now he knows he's got such a good team and they're there
Hmm.
for the right reason. I mean, he
Hmm.
has the seasonal people, but he has the people that have been with him for years
Hmm.
and they're a part of the family, they're a part of the group. And he can let them have that free reign because he trusts them to put the restaurant interest first, right? To the benefit of and that's the type of thing when you are hiring people. Are they looking at this as a paycheck or an ego check? Or are they really wanting to be a part of the family where it is about making this successful so everyone benefits? And those are
Hmm.
the kind of people you want.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So
Might
that's
take a bit
great.
of time to find it, but that's, you've got to be the example of it, haven't you? And be
Yeah.
willing to let go of the reins.
Well, and again, that's why it's really, again, it emphasizes how important relationships are,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
being able in any kind of relationship that you're in, there's going to be hiccups along the way. There's going to be hard conversations that you need to have. And I think that's one of the most difficult thing with either being on a team or being a manager or an executive is having those hard
Yeah.
conversations. And that's one of the things that I'm very good at, having studied nonviolent communication for years
Mm-hmm.
and years, is that knowing that these conversations that come up are are really important to have.
Yeah.
They are you can build trust, and knowing that it doesn't mean that it's over, right?
Right.
You're never, there's all these things that we say to ourselves like, oh, this person, he never does the job right and he doesn't care and blah blah blah, right? But when you actually, I remember I was working with this one executive, and that a person who fell down on the job, not literally, but
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't come through. And so they needed to have a conversation. They weren't looking forward to it, of course, right? You avoid it.
Yeah.
Avoid, a lot of people avoid that kind of
Confrontation. Yeah.
conflict
Yeah.
presentation. But we really shifted the perspective that this is an opportunity to build trust in your
Mhm.
relationship and to build a stronger working relationship. And so they ended up having that conversation, and it, of course, wasn't anything like what the guy had originally thought the other guy was thinking,
Right.
right? And now they have a stronger relationship. They're building trust. And that's another thing that organizations really need is,
Mm.
finding errors. I mean, look at
Yeah.
what's happening with Boeing,
Mm-hmm.
because they have these defensive behaviors
Mm.
in place, versus where they can actually, usually performance evaluations are all around judgment,
Yeah.
and people don't want to be judged,
No, no.
and so how can you switch this around where people can actually bring forth, hey, there's a problem here, or I almost made this mistake, and we need another system, because it's there's we're most people are doing the best they can. I mean, they really are. They're doing the best they can within the system
Yeah.
that they're operating in. And so there's generally systems that you can put in
Mm,
place to help not have the human error.
right.
Um,
And if the human error is of pure neglect or, incompetence, that's a different thing. One has to address that. But most human error comes into just a simple human mistake, or
yeah,
didn't realize something, or
right.
didn't switch that right switch at the right time. It's always
Yeah,
something, and they're beating themselves up. You don't need to do
yeah.
it, right? And it's like, okay, we recognize, this was a problem. To
Mm,
avoid this problem in the future, how are we going to go about it? And I
yeah,
think if we could stop doing the blame and the shame,
yeah.
instead of let's get to the root cause so that this is preventative,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, we don't really kind of do business in a preventative way. Let's
Mhm.
prevent the errors. And if an error comes up, own it and address it. And how are we going to make sure that it is preventative in the future?
Yeah. And that's the other thing is just a I want to highlight that that's what we do to ourselves too,
Yes,
is
yes,
that we make a mistake and then we beat ourselves up, and then therefore we cannot actually learn from our
no,
mistake. And
no,
so it's so important to interrupt that saboteur pathway and move into the region of our brain where we can actually look at our mistakes in a way that's much more objective so that we can learn from
yes.
them. Because there's always gifts that
Mm.
we can get out of
E-
that.
Exactly. It's what can we do with it? It's like things aren't out to get you, they're out to teach you. What
Yeah,
can we learn from this? Now,
yeah,
I know that, of course, you've got to go into a workshop right now. So you have a wonderful gift. Your gift is a Saboteur discovery session. And you
yes,
also have your download free 7-step formula to kickstart your life, which
yes.
people can find here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com and simply put in your name, River Easter, and they will find those links there. But also, how do people reach out to you? Who is your client, and what is the first step that is needed there?
Well, I have well, actually, the very first step is to do the Saboteur discovery session.
Mm-hmm.
It's complimentary for people who watch this. And with that, we can figure out if we're a good fit
Yes.
and how we could move forward if we're a good fit to work together. But you'll have this incredibly valuable assessment,
Mm-hmm.
which is highly researched and is just has the latest and the greatest in it, and it'll be so valuable for you.
Mm. A really good self-assessment of where you stand, right? Then okay, maybe I need a river. So you need to understand where you're at to actually understand how someone can help you. So that's a really good point.
And
But
what is
also,
it costing me?
sorry?
What is it costing me
Mm,
to stay the same?
yes. Yes. But your site is River Easter, EASTER.com, so people can reach you there. And of course, you have a YouTube, LinkedIn, Tamara River Easter, so people can reach you out there. But as you suggested, take the Saboteur discovery, know for yourself where you're at, right? And then when you do speak to River, when you set up a session, you can actually address what has come up. And that's already kind of bridging the gap, and then you'll know, as you said, is there a fit? Um, but if you don't know what your needs are, or what is your saboteur, then it's harder for you to know how to serve them. So as you said, a great first step. We've all got them, folks. It doesn't matter who we are.
Yeah.
It's a human condition to have a little saboteur out there, in our ears all the time. And it's how, to listen to the critique of, yes, I need to do this, right? I need to address that without feeling persecuted, because saboteur generally makes us feel persecuted. I'm unworthy. I can't do this. And,
Yes.
to change that dialogue to, I was unaware of this. What do I need to do to correct it?
Hmm.
All right. So it's changing the way we look at something, which very often we have to be trained on in order
Exactly.
to see things in another way. Otherwise, we're in the old patterning all the time, expecting the same results. So we need that pattern changer so that we can actually put ourselves on the right track with the right information moving forward. Thank you so much for sharing all your wonderful wisdom here today. There's a lot, whether you're in business or not, or just the business of life, just living. Wonderful information here today of really listening to ourselves, paying attention, what action to take moving forward. Because I think that's where people get stuck. Okay, I know, but I don't know how to move forward. And
Oh,
that,
so
right,
common.
yeah,
Really super common. Yeah. And I'm can help you on that one.
right.
Definitely.
That first step, saboteur. Second step, reach out to have a conversation, and she'll help you with the third step of moving forward. So do it for yourself, do it for your company, and just do it to then become the inspiration for someone else down the road. Right? So that's what it's all about. Thank you so much, River. And to everyone else out there, remember, if you invest in yourself and all that you are, uh, believe me, you'll be able to serve so many other people more beneficially.
I have one thing I want to leave people with, and it is that you matter,
Yeah,
your dreams matter, and your dreams will change the world.
exactly. And we need your dreams. We need your action, right? We need you in the orchestra of life, please. So please step into it, and we're here to support you all along the way. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there, and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.